Hello again from my front porch, and this is now officially season 4 of Hello from My Front Porch. That is right, it was on this exact day, September 13th, 4 years ago, well, 3 years ago, because this is the 4th season, that I did the very first episode of what would become Hello from My Front Porch. And, you know, those of you who have been along for the journey, you're familiar with how it all began. That was when my daughter was going to be getting married. It was about a week before they were getting married, on the 18th, actually. So their anniversary coming up here soon, too. But I had a lot of people that would be sending me things. They'd be saying, hey, so how you doing with this, Dad? How's the wedding plans coming? How's Ashley? Blah, blah, you know. But they'd all be asking the same kind of stuff. And so I got tired of just copying and pasting the same responses to people. And about a week before the wedding, I started doing this. I would come out on the front porch swing and I would just kind of say, well, here's what's going on with the wedding planning, and here's how I'm doing, and here's how Ashley's doing, and here's everybody's, all this kind of stuff. And people watched them and they appreciated getting the information. And then came the wedding, and I did a very sad and tearful, the day after the wedding, I helped them load up Ashley's stuff from the house into the vehicle, and they headed to Florida day after the wedding. Excuse me. And day after wedding, they were off to Florida. And so, I was sad. Woo, and I shared that, and then it was done. And then I stopped doing the videos. And then I had people saying, hey, are you still going to do those videos anymore? Because I was kind of enjoying watching them. And I'm like, what? Why? But you have to remember that we were in the midst of a political campaign, a really, an ugly political campaign at that. And people liked having something like this come up on their Facebook feed that wasn't political, that wasn't even divisive, that wasn't pontificating about, okay, maybe a little pontificating in the years since, but in general, it's intended to feel like we're just sitting here on the front porch, just talking. I'm here on my porch swing, and we're doing that. And more recently, of course, Ashley got me this nifty towel back here. It's a beach towel, and it says "Welcome to my front porch." It doesn't say hello, but that's the same difference. You're welcomed on my front porch. But so now this marks the 4th year, the 4th season of doing this show, and I'm way behind. If you go out to IMBD, you'll see that there is a IMBD page for Hello from My Front Porch. But I am so woefully behind in getting up to date, and there's a reason for that backlog. The problem is with each episode I make, the backlog gets longer. Pretty soon I'm gonna have to just hire an assistant to come and take care of the social media aspect of Hello from My Front Porch. Maybe that should be my big announcement for season 4. I'm getting an intern. I'm hiring a... No, I know that's not it. But I do have every kickoff to every season. There has to be something extraordinary that I do. Well, extraordinary might be a stretch. Something special. And so this time I do have really, really, really big news. Now, some of you may have already heard, because I've told a few people, and it probably goes to the grapevine. But as you know, back in May, I started a new job at Baker Construction Enterprises, which is the parent entity for Baker Concrete, the construction company, which is the nation's largest concrete construction company. And I was hired to be their head of training. And it has been a phenomenal experience so far. I have absolutely no complaints about it whatsoever. No worries, I'm not changing jobs. I'm still with them, and that's not going to change. But when they hired me, the plan was that in about 12 months, I had about 12 months to decide and do stuff. The plan was for me to relocate to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because that's where the executive office is, and my role technically considered an executive level position. And so that's where I would go. And so that has been the plan. Now, I didn't have to rush and do that because the goal was that the training program that I've been working on developing and rolling out, that was a priority. I had to get that done first, not be worrying about where I'm living. So it's okay, stay where you're at right now, but eventually we're going to need you moving down here to Fort Lauderdale. Well, now several months have rolled by since then, and now after just 4 or 5 months on the job, my boss and I, we had conversation, and we were planning out budget for next year, my budget for next year, because I'm head of the department, so it's my budget that we're hammering out. And I was amazed. I won't go into the details, but let's just say it was a big number. And I was like, really? I'm in charge of it? Oh. And from what I understand, we're not done growing it. And over the next couple of months, we may add more even into that. It's like, oh, okay. But the big news that came out of that conversation, because as part of that, I said, well, we also need to factor in, if I'm going to be moving to Fort Lauderdale, that we need to factor in the expenses for that, because they said they'd pay my moving expenses and adjustment of my salary if I move to reflect cost of living where I'm at, so that it would go up. And so we got talking about that, and my boss tells me that, you know what? There's really no need for you to have to move at this point. Seriously, he says that near as he can tell, I'm getting all the work done that I need to get done. Everything is happening not only as well as he had hoped, but better than he had hoped. That when he gives me some tasks to do, he's totally confident I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to take it a step farther than even what he's asked for me to do. That I don't seem to have any problems with making contact with people. I don't have any problems going to places and meeting with people. Traveling isn't an option, and I'm not being extravagant. I'm not blowing money everywhere I'm going. I'm keeping costs down even as I do all that traveling, and that my work output is exceptional. And so he didn't see any reason to rock a boat that's cruising along just fine. And so basically his stance was, at this point, he doesn't see a need for me to have to move. Now, if I would decide I want to move, everything still happens the way that we've said. They'll pay the expenses and cost of living adjustment, blah, blah, whatever. Or if we should decide that, it actually would be more efficient. I'd be able to do the job a bit better if I were based in one of our offices, Fort Lauderdale or wherever. The options are Denver and Houston and now Baton Rouge and DC and technically we have one in Orlando as well, Cincinnati and Fort Lauderdale. I'd probably still choose a Fort Lauderdale. But still, if we determine it's better for me to be in one of those locations to be more effective at the job, then that's what I'll do. I'll go to Fort Lauderdale and or to wherever, and again, they pay the expenses and adjust my salary accordingly. So all of that's still totally open and on the table, but there is no longer any timeline for that. It's not a 1-year thing. There's not, and in fact, even without it being no timeline thing, now there just isn't even at this point an expected need to have to do that. And so I take that as a great compliment. That's a good thing because what that tells me is that there's a great deal of confidence and trust in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And so anyway, that's my big news for season 4. That I'm staying right here in Iowa. So at least for now. Now, I'm still going to be traveling a boatload. In my budget for next year, there was a lot of money set aside for traveling. So that's still there. But anyway, but home base is going to stay right here. And so the Hello from My Front Porch will continue to be right here on this front porch. Yes, I like it. I like it very much. I'm very appreciative of that. You may also notice I'm wearing my Iowa State shirt today. It's because tomorrow is big rivalry game, Iowa State versus the University of Iowa. I'm an Iowa State fan because that's where I went. I'm an Iowa State graduate, and that's where I spent a lot of money. So I cheer for them and I challenge them. I do both, and I paid a lot of money to do that. I did share now. Let me preface this by saying I support both teams. I really do. I like to see the Hawkeyes win, except when they play Iowa State. Because of that, I don't generally get into all the snarkiness that fans will, the shooting back and forth, and so I don't do a lot. I do a lot of yay Iowa State, but I don't do a lot of slamming the Hawkeyes or Iowa. Although it's very tempting sometimes, because honestly, my observation is that if I wasn't an Iowa State fan, I still don't think I could be an Iowa fan, and mostly because while there are some really good people who are really decent and they're good loyal fans and they're just diligent about it, I've met a whole lot of Iowa fans who are really jerks. That's a nice way of putting it. It's like they clearly don't have any comprehension of the term good sportsmanship, and it's sad. And they just and what's really bizarre to me is, almost without exception, those individuals who are the most aggressive like that in being a Hawkeye fan, they didn't even go to the University of Iowa. They didn't go to college anywhere. And it's not that you have to go to college to be smart. And I'm just saying that they are passionately invested to the point of being insulting to other people over a school that they didn't even go to. I went to this one. And yet I still support. Now, having said that, I did post something on my feed the other day that I saw. It was a joke. It was kind of funny, and it simply said, let's see. Let me think about this now. I should have prefaced this. I should have practiced this. It was what do the fans of Iowa State University and fans of the University of Iowa have in common? And the answer was, neither actually graduated from University of Iowa. Whatever. Be a fan of it. I mean, I like the Kansas City teams, and I don't live in Kansas City. It's what it is. So anyway, that's what's going on in my neighborhood. I'm doing that. But staying in Iowa so I can keep supporting the rivalry too, while right here in the state. And with that, I'll let y'all go, and I'll see you next time from right here, my front porch.